Asperger's syndrome is a fucking spectrum, because there are Nazi cunts out there who think that I am an extreme fucking example of Asperger's syndrome. So, you're gonna die if you voted for Trump. You're the bad guys. You're a threat that must be neutralized. You are going to lose this, and you are going to suffer, and you are going to die. People are gonna die on all sides. Don't know when the shooting's gonna start. People are going to die. People are gonna die! I am what the alt-right use to convince other members of the alt-right that their cause is just, because look at that man with the tits. This is what the left is. My advice to you, if you are alt-right, if you are fascist, if you are Nazi, if you are genocidal, if you are in any way a fan of the Trump administration, is to start undermining it, and start undermining it fast, because the left will come for you, one way or the other.
Jahans is a prolific left-wing figure on the internet, and he has Kalman syndrome. And these two aspects of his character marry up quite succinctly in a video he uploaded which gained him a lot of attention.
You're just really bringing home that the Green Party is the best party in the world and that UKIP are full of racist cunts. I mean, you're just really kind and supportive, and I love that. I really, really do. So, because I love you guys, and because I know that you've requested them, I'm gonna show you what you've all been asking for. Here. Feast upon my grotesque body horror tits. Feast upon them. Wank off, UKIP voters. Wank off to my grotesque tits. I give you these, UKIP voters. Wank off to me now. You know it makes sense. Vote Greens. And remember, fuck those fucking racist fucking arsehole Nazi UKIP voters. You know it makes sense. And that's right, lads. Have a good wank on me. You know it makes sense.
Okay, so that's Jahans, and I hope that you now have at least a base level understanding of the sort of surreal character that Jahans is.
So it's 30 minutes before Christmas Eve dinner, and we've hit a lull in the day, to be honest, because it's kind of bugger all on Christmas because of stupid schedulers of the BBC not putting anything decent on. Ooh, this is even more exciting than what they've got on telly at the moment. That is how bad the telly is at the moment. You may have noticed some awkward cuts in the film. Certain family members have suddenly revealed they don't want to be in the vlog after all.
Now, what was the importance of starting here? Well, the recorded events of that occasion provide our only filmed interaction of Keith and Jahans. It is really our only objective view of the two interacting in the natural habitat. And contrary to later accounts that we will hear of the relationship, it does not seem as though Keith is in any shape or form abusive, or is a hulking monster of any kind. Instead, the impression given is of an elderly man who's quietly and reservedly reading a newspaper. All the while, his son is prattling into a camera about nonsense. The shape of things to come, indeed. We arrive in the immediate aftermath of a showdown between Jahans and Keith. Jahans vents his rage.
I asked if I could sort out some stuff from my bed and clear out the rubbish. Dad said no, we've got plenty of time. So I wait until one day he says, actually, today you may clean out the rubbish from your room. So I say, okay, I'll do it tonight. And then at 8 o'clock, not night, not for me, I meant kind of like at midnight onwards, he comes into my room and he suddenly says, I need you to have it all cleaned up tonight. Like, now, please. Just clean it all up now. And I was just like, no, I can't, practically, because, hey, if you wanted me to get it done earlier, you should have let me get it done earlier. But instead, you said it's okay to do it tonight, so I'm going to do it tonight. And then he had a hissy fit. Then he had a big old shouting match. And he said, I'm turning into my mother. And he left. He took the car, packed his bags, and he left.
Jahans has come to an agreement with his father about tidying his room. Keith wants Jahans to clear out the rubbish, but it's likely that this was asked relatively early in the day, as Keith tells Jahans, you have plenty of time. So, being the son that Jahans is, he waits until the very last moment for Keith's head to touch his pillow before he starts dragging and clanging the rubbish bags down the stairs, making as much noise as he possibly can. Keith wanted Jahans to get this all over and done with by 8 p.m. at the latest. Instead, Jahans wants to do it from midnight onwards. No regard for the other people in the household trying to get some sleep. But Keith knows that there is no reasoning with his son. He's turning into his mother. So Keith bails. He leaves the house, probably to check into a Holiday Inn, so that he can get some bloody sleep.
And then I was going to sleep, and couldn't sleep, so I decided, fuck it, I'm going to make a video on, why communism is fucking scary to me. And then my dad decides to hoover outside my room at 8 a.m. Just as I'm about to go to bed.
Nobody who is unemployed should ever have to say the words, just as I was getting ready to get to sleep at 8 a.m.
And he proceeds to follow me around the house, screaming about how I'm lazy, screaming about how all I do is take, saying outright to me, you know what, you're dependent on me, if you don't do as I say, you're fucked.
Keith is trying to get some shut-eye, but Jahans is trying his best to make that not the case, as he rants and raves about communism in the bedroom next door. But Keith has finally had enough. He waits for Jahans to stop shouting. It's likely that Jahans is now ready to sleep. And he gets the Dyson out and starts hoovering the landing. Well played. And as Jahans comes out of his room to rage at his father, Keith lays down some much-needed home truths.
And he's following me around, screaming, going, you have to do as I say. All you do is take. You're so selfish, you're so lazy. And Dad decides to poke. And they're annoying, you know what you're doing, you poke. So I pushed back. And that's the moment I got scared. It was the moment I realised how fucking easy it is now to push Dad around. I am terrified of becoming a monster. I am so fascinated by darkness because I'm terrified of my own darkness. And he is poking and prodding and goading and goading and goading. And now, having spent a year playing video games and, basically lying on a bed the entire time, and with, not enough testosterone, and kind of half mad, I have the ability to very easily push him around. I could beat Dad hands down in a fight now. When I do, probably because if I do finally lash out, he can then say from the hospital bed, "Look what he did to me! Arrest him!"
Jahans admits that he has come to the revelation that his father is now an old man and that he can probably push Dad around. And this scares Jahans. It scares him because he recognizes that he is teetering on the edge of becoming a monster. A monster that may even be capable of taking the life of his own father. In the same breath, Jahans describes his father as an intimidating man in terms of his physicality. Let's remind ourselves of Keith's appearance. Now, hold your horses. You need to take a deep breath and look again, because this is not the Incredible Hulk. Keith is a self-published author, and part of self-publishing is also taking up the mantle of advertising your own work. Here we are, seeing Keith upload a video to his own YouTube channel where he seems to be assuming the part of a character that features in one of the books that he has written and self-published.
Hello, Tony. Thank you for giving me the opportunity for this interview prior to your show. Hello, everybody. I am Frank Whittleworth, resident poet at Coggrell's Mill, Mucklesbury. I am delighted to have this opportunity to tell you about the work we're doing there. We have wonderful sculptors, painters, photographers, all gathered together by the kind permission of the owners, the gorgeous Victoria Glow, and that stout fellow, George Coggrell. You should taste his cider. Absolute nectar. Is that okay? Thank you.
This is an elderly man, retired, who has finally given up what must have been a very high-stress job in order to focus on his creative endeavours. Put simply, this is an old man having some fun before he sheds his mortal coil. And more power to him.
I'm telling you this because I need you to understand why I did what I did next. Because I felt like I had no other options.
Jahans is unusually morose, isn't he? He seems almost riddled by guilt, by shame. And we ask, what has he done? What has he done to his own father?
If he's gonna use physical violence and intimidation, so would I, but I would be better at it. It was only that he quietly got his keys and left, that some part of my morality was like, I'm not gonna beat up a man who's fucking running away. Cut his brake lines. And I'm not gonna do that, I'm never gonna do that, but that if he wanted a fight, I would give him one. That I was gonna be violent, be intimidating, that I was gonna sling my great big dick around and say that I'm the fucking guy in charge. So I give him 10 minutes. Literally start my timer. And sure enough, I after those 10 minutes are up, I quite calmly decide to go downstairs open the door, the front door of the house, and go into his room and literally force him out of the house, literally lift him up out of the chair and force him out of the house. Now, of course, there is one very obvious piece of flawed logic to this, which is that even supposing I could have done that, he's got the fucking keys to the house.
This moment in Jahans' life coincided with him finally starting treatment for his Kalman syndrome. Treatment which involved high dosages of testosterone being injected into him. The mixture of the testosterone and Jahans' growing feelings that he could take his father in a fight create a perfect storm, where Jahans takes his chances and starts to make his move on Keith.
God, the police. 3 policemen came over, and I did my best to remain calm and civil. I was, trying to be as calm and civil as possible, but fundamentally, my body was rushing with all sorts of endorphins and emotions, and I was trying to sort of sit there and be calm and quiet and explain and answer as best as I could, just with tears streaming down my face. I was given a caution. I was, read the Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you do say will be given in evidence against you. You do not have to say anything when the question, but anything you do say can be given in evidence against you. And I was just very open and honest about the fact that it was the dick this time. I pushed him, and he reacted. So he reacted as kind of he was justified to, and that as a result, I might have hurt him. And I was given a caution. I was told to take a walk for an hour and to tidy my room. That's how pathetic I am. Told to tidy my room by a police sergeant.
So the events that Jahans has just related would surely have any loving son recoiling in horror. This is a 23-year-old man, unemployed, who decides one day to start taking his anger out on his father, who decides that he should carry his own father out of the house, which he's paid the mortgage on for the past 25 years, and who is told by the police to tidy his room. But Jahans here seems genuinely repentant, doesn't he? And he has devised a way in which he shall be dissolved of all his sins. He decides that he shall watch 2 girls, 1 cup, and the disgust which he will feel upon seeing it will match the pain he inflicted onto his own father.
I am going to watch 2 girls, 1 cup. Let the horror show begin. I think that ought to make up for an eternity of exquisite pain. And he screams in my face as I am lying there, trying not to kill myself. You're a baby, you're a fucking baby. Look at yourself, you're a fucking baby. But you're not making any money though, are you, Alex? It's not gonna pay the bills, is it, Alex? Well, it's not gonna fucking matter if I kill myself, is it, Dad? Because this is the thing that the Tories and my fucking dad don't realise, okay? If you treat me shittily enough, I will kill myself and you have wasted all that fucking money! But nah, man, just get a job! Just get a job! It doesn't matter how hard you quack that whip. It doesn't matter how hard you kick me in the arse. It doesn't matter how many times you break my fucking bones. It doesn't matter how many times you're screaming in my face that I'm a loser and I'm a stupid idiot and I'm a fucking baby. It doesn't matter how many times you beg and cry and scream and say that you are useless and nothing and worthless. That is not going to make me get a fucking job. That is going to make me kill myself and waste all of your fucking money. But you will never take my soul. You will never make me sit down and fucking obey. I would genuinely rather fucking die.
This was Jahans' Braveheart speech. He is Mel Gibson. He is William Wallace declaring to his army that the enemy may take his life, but they will never, ever take his freedom.
The talent on show is abundant, and I strongly recommend that you partake in its delights. It's all set out by that author fellow, Jack Lindsay, in his wonderful book, Coggerell's Mill. Allow me to read a short passage to you, and you will understand what I mean.
I want the image of Keith, his mannerisms, the affectation to his voice. I want the sensory experience of Keith to be with you as we move through the following.
I will be minding my own business in my room, doing stuff, or I'll go downstairs for a snack, and suddenly he wants a bite, and we're doing this now, okay? And he will follow me and stalk me and scream in my face and insult me and berate me, and it's like if 4chan is 6'4", following you around in your day-to-day life. This man who screams at me that I'm a fucking baby because I cut my hair, folded the fucking hair up in a towel, and he drops the fucking towel, getting hair everywhere, and somehow that's my fault. Yeah, you dropped a fucking towel, and you fucked it up. And no, that's me. You gotta lecture your fucking suicidal son because you know he had hair in the fucking towel that you dropped. I remember being taken into the fucking garage to have my ass smacked by him as a fucking kid. I hate the man. I had been punched in the nose. That goddamn man, who by the way is like 5 fucking meters from my room. Always. Because he's retired and I don't have a job because the Tories fucked up the economy. He's the one man who is ever stupid and angry and persistent and hateful enough to make me be violent towards him, right? If I start hitting, I don't know when I'm gonna stop. And that's him at the doorway right now, so I am fucking glad that I am recording this and live streaming this, so if he bursts in that fucking door and beats me the fuck up, then you fuckers will see it. But I'm 6 foot now, so what I did was I hugged him. I hugged the fucker, and I let him know that even though he's fucking terrifying to me, even though he makes me so goddamn angry that I genuinely worry that I could hurt him, that I could kill him in my anger and rage should he ever actually be fucking stupid enough to make me do that, I let him know through hugging him that I'm not afraid to lay hands on him.
Jahans gives a far more spirited account of him ejecting Keith from his own home. This is in contrast to the sober, morose tone he took in the Two Girls, One Cup video. It begs the question, doesn't it? Was that just insincerity? Was his apparent guilt and humiliation an act?
But I explained to someone my situation with my father, with essentially the shit that I am in. And, you know, the reaction that one of the people I speak to just says, cut his fucking brakes. Kill the fucker. And so as far as I'm concerned, the fucker is home when he shouldn't be. Okay? He's been ruling by terror my entire goddamn fucking life. So I say, fuck it! 15 minutes, start the fucking timer, get the fuck out of my house! And when the 15 minutes are up, I start pushing him out the fucking house. And he's like, I'll call the police! Call the police! And he fucking calls the police. And the police turn up. And I have to sit there and kind of calmly explain the reasons why I was terrified of the benefit system, why I decided to kick my dad out. I have to basically give them a potted history of the fucking abuse and listen to this fucking policewoman who doesn't understand the situation in the fucking context say, but he was just being a good father. No, he fucking wasn't! But he owns the house, don't you know? Yeah, and he's got the fucking money to live elsewhere. And now today, the fucker, out of nowhere, says, we need to talk. And he said, if you ever do that again, I'll call the police and I'll have you arrested. What the fuck did I do? What the fuck did I fucking do?
Well, apart from throwing him out of his own house, raging death threats into a camera as he's trying to get some shut-eye, hurling derogatory names at him at every opportunity, forcing him to give you money because you refuse to get a job, and abjectly dismissing any requests for you to clean your bedroom, apart from all of that, I have absolutely no idea what you did, Jahans. I guess we're all in the dark.
So, things weren't good yesterday. I got a little bit angry. I got a little tiny bit angry. I see this fucker that I made the fucking video about. Because here's the thing, right? He pesters. Like, genuinely, I did so much shouting that I made myself feel ill. But the fact that I made myself ill from shouting so much, yeah, that means that I gave a shit. I gave a shit, and that wasn't good. Little fucker, gotta fucking hit him. He is, oh, yes, I see it, can I talk to you, Poof. Yeah, there's a ray right here, yes, hello, I'd like to talk to you, Poof. Right here, yes, hello, please, Poof. Fuck off, get the fucking message, I do not want to talk to you. You are not going to have any kind of interesting debate with me. If you insist on having any kind of debate, at this point, all the debate will be, fuck off, I hate you. Fuck off, I don't care. Fuck off, go away. I don't care. Think that you have the moral high ground. Think that you win all the arguments ever. I give you this to you. You may, okay, like genuinely, I say this to you now. All your points are valid. Your points win. I am the suckiest of the suck. Now fuck off. Fuck off! I don't care! I will stop you. 'Cause, you see,
I'm not gonna let anyone, for no fucked up reason, decide that they take precedence over me. Donald Trump, the fact that he is a insane, stupid, genocidal, bigoted fuckwit is not the scariest thing about him. Dear UKIP voters, just how fucking screwed up I am. How screwed the fuck up. Get rid of the fucking guns! Get rid of the guns! It is not worth it! People are being killed by goddamn dogs because of your guns! Okay? It's just people who kill people! No! Dogs kill people with fucking guns! Get rid of the guns! Get rid of them! Now! No guns! All guns go! Get rid of the guns!
Let me acquaint you with Jahans' relationship with the two ladies in his life, his mother and his sister. Let's start with Jahans talking about his mother.
My mother, who likes to tell me at length about how she's going to go to Peru and about how she's going to go on this holiday and that holiday, and my mother who will spend £10 on bunting. My mother who will buy tons of fancy bedding sets that she never uses. My mother who will get actively annoyed and angry when I try to talk her out of just signing up to the most expensive tablet on a contract that she doesn't even want and can't bloody use because, well, the guy in the shop's being nice, so I must talk to him. My mother has decided to cut me off and has said, I fucking quote, benefits or food bank. My mother, fucking jet setter, fucking filthy stinking rich, retired with a job just to top things off. She's got a good job working for a charity, right? She's someone who has only ever worked for the government or charity. She has not actually, worked someone who was not being paid for by the taxpayer or charitable organisations. And she basically has bought into the Tory lie that, well, you're just lazy. No.
And now, Jahans talking about his sister.
And I scared my sister. I scared my goddamn sister. All this time I thought she had her phone with her because she was a fucking socialite girl who likes having her phone with her all the time, and it turns out the reason that she always has it with her is because she's terrified of me.
So as you can see, Jahans is both a loving son and a loving brother.
Jim Sterling is a fucking badass because he is Jim fucking Sterling's son. Not because he is, yes, well, I kind of got a bit of an opinion about something here, so, could you not be so mean about it while I say my opinion? No, Jim fucking Sterling's son is like, yeah, I get the monies, and I suck the dick.
Watch and enjoy. Or don't, it doesn't matter, because you're not me.
This is Jim Sterling, real name James Stanton. He's a British games journalist who used to write for The Escapist alongside contemporaries like Movie Bob and Yahtzee. After parting ways with the escapist, he took to YouTube, where he puts out an independent series called the Jimquisition. Jim, as of October 2017, takes in about 13 grand a month from Patreon. And if this is your first introduction to Jim Sterling, then you may have noticed the physical resemblance to Jahans. They look like father and son. And make no mistake, Jim Sterling is Jahans' idol, his only in-real-life hero, and it's easy to see why. He earns a lot of money putting out YouTube videos, and he hasn't had to do anything pesky like lose weight or tidy his room in order to make that money. To Jahans, Jim Sterling is the epitome of success. Jahans doesn't aspire to be a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher or anything noble. He instead aspires to be Jim fucking Sterling's son.
Jim Sterling, a guy who if you like me, but what you want is someone who will use clips and sketches and script things out, you will love Jim Sterling. Because basically, Jim Sterling is me, but video games, shorter, scripted, edited. Like, if you like me, you will love Jim Sterling.
Hello everyone, Laura K. Buzz here. Over the last 5 days, almost £7,000 has come in for a fund I set up to get gender-related surgery done privately rather than through the NHS, because the NHS are fucking bullshit when it comes to trans people. And thank you all so much. Thank you everyone. I have the best audience I could ever hope for, and you're all lovely and wonderful.
This is transgender games journalist Laura K. Buzz, born Joshua Dale. Laura K. Buzz collaborates with Jim Sterling on a podcast called The Podquisition, and Laura K. Buzz actually had their transition surgery crowdfunded by a group of Jim Sterling's fans, including our very own Jahans. This marks probably the only time that Jahans has actually given something and not expected anything in return. But why would Jahans donate when his every other act is selfish? Well, we have to keep in mind that Jahans wants to be Jim Sterling. And if you want to be Jim Sterling, you've got to get with his friends. You've got to be the same paragon of virtue that he is. You've got to be the champion of the transgender and anything else that Jim Sterling wants. So Jahans becomes Laura's #1 fan, the closest he can come short of taking Jim's place as Laura's friend.
And then there's Laura K. Buzz. And Laura K. Buzz is someone who, look, I am someone who I can get quite attached to things quite quickly, you know. If I like something, I'm someone who will eat the same thing over and over again because it's just my jam. It's just fits, right? Laura K. Buzz is my jam, right? Like, it's the way she sounds. It's the way that she incorporates some of the sort of laddish, flirtish, crudish, 90s men behaving badly with modern feminist LGBTQA+ sensibilities. I was just, yes, Laura K. Buzz, thou art awesome.
But what happens when things don't go to plan? When certain elements go awry and your dreams of becoming Jim Sterling lie on the precipice of oblivion? What happens when Jahans writes a fanfiction regarding Jim Sterling and Laura K. Buzz?
I finished this fanfic. It tops in at like 28,445 words, and it was actually quite disturbing to write at times. This is the thing. Read this.
So we dive straight in to a dramatic reading of the fanfiction that Jahans spent a full day recording. Day will pass into night as Jahans reads his story. his bedroom door wide open for the whole household to hear. Keith won't be getting any sleep tonight.
Laura, Queen of Earth. Quasi-canonical podquisition fanfic by Alexander Gordon Jahans. Dedicated to the hosts of the podquisition. Laura, Queen of Mirth. Jim fucking Sterling, son. Gavin, Miracle of Sound, done. Let's go. Jim Sterling and Laura K. Buzz, Queen of Butts, are having a private conversation in an empty room. Gavin enters, long flowing brown hair, devil horns as he enters. Oh man, that was so awesome. I mean, honestly, Charlie McDonald, what an amazing singer. Regenerate me. Come on, it was awesome. And I think they like me so much they want me to be in their band. I'm going to be in the Doctor Who band. How cool is that? Laura hurriedly wipes her eyes. Jim says genially, that's really awesome, Gavin. Gavin pauses, studying the scene. Wait, am I interrupting something? Jim tries to placate Gavin. No, honestly, mate, it's fine. Let's grab a drink, shall we?
So we start quite tamely. There is an implied romantic undercurrent between Jim Sterling and Laura K. Buzz that is subtly alluded to. He might even be forgiven if we thought that this was the beginning of a cute slash-fic.
Oh, that's cute, says Laura. I mean, you have to admit, she has a great bum. Oh yeah, says Eve confidently. What a great ass. Lucy smiles radiantly. Thank you. I hope that one day you'll both get to enjoy it. Yes, says Eve. I think I should enjoy ramming you in the ass.
This escalated quickly. We are definitely transitioning into a territory that initially this fiction didn't seem to be heading towards.
Lucy kissed Amy on the lips. Amy kissed Lucy back. They started snogging, their tongues exploring each other's teeth as their hands undressed each other. Lucy was being very deliberate in her actions, exposing Amy's rear. Amy was lost to the lust, and her attempts to pull Lucy's shirt off failed. Lucy pulled away. She pulled Amy's shirt and bra off her body before continuing to snog her. Amy pulled away and turned to remove her shoes, as Lucy sucked at her neck and explored the contours of her body. As Amy kicked off her shoes and socks, Lucy began stimulating her where it counts. Amy rolled back onto her front and mounted Lucy. Lucy's deft fingers worked miracles as she kissed and sucked at the beautiful naked woman breathing heavily on top of her. At last, Amy climaxed in blissful ecstasy.
Jahans has written a very evocative, very passionate sex scene. It's very vanilla, very detailed. As a passage of erotica, it works. It paints a very vivid picture. Quite what it's doing in a Jim Sterling fanfiction, I don't know, but let's roll with it.
Jim watches as Lucy strips the ginger woman completely naked, layer by layer. Finally, the ginger woman drops onto her hands and knees and says, "What would you have me do, mistress?" Lucy pulls out a collar and leash from her pocket, attaches the collar around the ginger woman's neck, and clips the leash onto the collar. "Honey, be a good, obedient little girl and follow, but don't speak, okay? I'll give you lots of hugs later." Jim stares. Lucy turns her attention back to Jim, with a great big grin plastered across her face. "We'll have to try milking her later. Now, what was it you wanted to say?" Jim blinks and shakes his head. One of them's shrinking." "Fantastic," says Lucy. "Those ones are the best." And he began to undress Anna. Jim turned to stare at the wall and hummed his theme tune to himself so he didn't overhear what was going on. When Anna was completely naked and standing on all fours before him.
Okay, so Jim Sterling has just witnessed an act of BDSM, and it is clear that we are now in that world. The idea of naked women wearing collars, it's BDSM, probably no different from stuff like 50 Shades of Grey. The only sign of the darkness to come, the oddness unique to Jahans, is a throwaway allusion to milking a naked woman. Now, before we go any further, I just want to set a challenge. Try to identify, in the upcoming extract, try to identify when this Jim Sterling fanfiction crosses a line, becomes irredeemable. try to identify that it might be hard for you to find, it might be hard for you to pick up on the exact moment. You may have to squint, but just have a go.
Lucy takes a frying pan out of a cupboard, places it on a hob, squirts some milk into a glass, then pours it into the pan to act like oiled butter. Then she finds a large clean knife and a rolling pin. She sticks the rolling pin in the ginger woman's mouth and instructs, "Bite down when you feel pain, honey." Then Lucy slices off a piece of the ginger woman's arse and fries it in the sylph milk. Once it is cooked, Lucy plates up the hot piece of ass and presents it to Jim Sterling. "Bon appetit, mon capitaine." Jim stares into Lucy's eyes, into her soul, and he lifts up the fried buttlet, sticks it into his mouth, bites, chews, and swallows. "Lovely." Then he thinks for a second and says, "Actually, this is really good, holy shit."
So if you've identified then Lucy slices off a piece of the ginger woman's arse as the point of no return, then yeah. I think you're right. The extract starts off almost like an episode of Nigella, and then quickly descends into Jim Sterling gleefully partaking in cannibalism. This is a very Jahanic way to honour your heroes.
"Thank you," said Lucy, and she kissed Jim on the cheek before leaving. Jim stared as the feeling of Lucy's lips lingered on his cheek, wondering if he had missed a golden opportunity. And then he shrugged and ate some breast.
Jim Sterling is now wholeheartedly a cannibal, eating the breasts of young women with joy. Jim Sterling is like a pig in muck. He bloody loves it.
Laura stared at the pint of blood. Eve caught Laura's gaze and said, "No, you are not drinking blood." "But it's a weird thing," said Laura. "I can't not try the weird thing." Eve said, "You can't. It's blood from people." "It's all right," said Lucy. "It's not going to turn you into a vampire or anything." "I'm trying the weird thing," said Laura, and she reached forward, lifted up Lucy's pint glass and took a large gulp. "It's nice. Quite viscous, like cough syrup, but nice."
The cannibalism isn't just restricted to Jim Sterling. Now, Laura K. Buzz is written as an enthusiastic blood drinker, gulping it down like it's a glass of absolute nectar. Bear in mind that Jahans wrote this fiction as a tribute to Jim Sterling and Laura K. Buzz. It's a harrowing insight, isn't it, into the mind of Jahans, that he sees projecting cannibalism onto his idols as A-OK.
"I just want to make sure I'm getting that entirely right." "Oh, they're fine," said Laura. "The girls love it. Slice them open, cut the organ free, whip it out. They heal in moments and say they like it because they feel all tingly inside." Laura casually bit into a sausage.
Laura K. Buzz has gone from having her first pint of blood to now trivializing and joyfully describing the disembowelment of women as she eats dinner. It's the casualness of it all that disturbs.
Lucy coughed and gestured to the glasses. "Cum, piss, shit, tears, spit, blood, vomit. The 7 base ingredients. What we need to do is find what the various different combinations mean."
So now we enter a part of the fanfiction where an apparently scientific series of experiments are about to be conducted. The purpose of these experiments is to find a cure for transgenderism. Note the sensitivity that Jahans displays here. Note the real-world science being applied. Note the presence of excretions as magical transformative cocktails. Note the sheer insanity.
5 centilitres of cum, 1 centilitre of vomit, 1 centilitre of blood. A short, pretty woman steps up. Lucy injects her. Lucy watches as the woman grows a foot taller, as her muscles thicken and her arms and legs become hairier as her chest tightens up and she develops abs. "Okay," says Lucy. "I think I know what's happened here, but I need to check something. May I please look inside your pants?" The woman shrugs. "I came in here half expecting to be killed and dissected. Of course you can look." "Thank you," says Lucy, and she pulls down the woman's trousers. "Interesting. Next." Sally holds up the sack and the woman climbs in.
So the combination of 5 centilitres of cum, 1 centilitre of vomit, and 1 centilitre of blood has turned a woman into a man. The medical professionals of the world need to take notes. They're clearly missing a trick.
5 centilitres of cum, 1 centilitre of tears, 1 centilitre of blood. A tall, beefy guy steps up. Lucy injects him. The man shrinks by a foot, and his muscles shrivel as his hair burns up and his chest flattens while his pectorals inflate and his nipples extend outward to facilitate new pockets of fat. His voice is noticeably more high-pitched. "Sir, may I ask to see inside your pants?" asks Lucy. He winks. "No problem." Lucy takes a peek and confirms her suspicions, then writes down the results. She prepares 5 centilitres of cum, 1 centilitre of blood, and 1 centilitre of vomit. Then she injects the man. When she injects the man, his body returns to its prior state.
And this combination of 5 centilitres of cum, 1 centilitre of tears, and 1 centilitre of blood can seemingly transform a man into a woman. Jahans has written the cure for transgenderism, and it is in no way is it transphobic. Of course it isn't. All trans people should start injecting themselves with bodily excretions right now. Just make sure you get those centilitres right. There's a real sense of pride here that Jahans displays at having written this smut, having written a piece of fan fiction that would disgust the people it's intended for. Jahans is proud, he's happy. And the next logical step, the next logical course of action for Jahans would be for him to literally put this fan fiction in the hands of Laura K. Buzz. Of course it would, of course. Oh wait, what? What? That actually happened? So why would he write this? Why would a fanfiction about Jim Sterling and Laura K. Buzz be 95% about harvesting organs from sex slaves? Why would he then present it to Laura K. Buzz in public? Why? Why would he do this? I think that Jahans listened to so many episodes of the Podquisition that he saw them all as his friends. The Podquisition was his friend simulator, so surely they would appreciate being written into his various torture and cannibalism fantasies. With Jahans there are massive red flags everywhere, yet he's not taken very seriously at all. Jahans fantasizes publicly about rape, about torture, and even cannibalism of living victims. Pretty much all of the worst criminals signal their acts for years or decades beforehand, yet time and time again it's ignored. The fact that Jahans has no shame and doesn't hide his sick fantasies shows how normalized they are in his mind. This is a huge, huge red flag. It is also worth remembering that Jahans' cannibalism fantasies are written into erotic stories, so it's likely that he also gets sexual satisfaction from them. He admits his fetishes are about the destruction of attractive and successful women, and the sad subtext is that Jahans simply can't stand women with agency because they might reject him. Hence his psychological compulsion to reduce them to slaves, to pets, to objects, and most disturbingly of all, things to be eaten. He thinks that if he explains it thoroughly enough, while continuously calling himself derogatory names, then somehow it becomes okay. It doesn't. Jahans has reached such a point now where he believes his desire to torture and eat and murder women is simply about dominance and submission. And the harrowing reason behind him painting those on the right of the political spectrum as the bad guys is because he is dealing with his own disgusting and illegal fetishes. So he projects it all onto the right-wing boogeyman. The shocking truth is that Jahans has latched onto social justice in order to mask and justify his repellent fetishes. Let's look at how Jahans became the Butcher of Britain.
The man I am now was formed by the ultimate chess master, by the ultimate trickster, manipulator, and you're like, you think I give a shit?
I don't want my asking someone out to be part of the reason they've had a shitty day.
You like this woman, don't you? Yeah, she's pretty, she's cute, she's really nice, isn't she? Yeah, and now here's the flesh being wrought from her bones, and here's her giggling and cheering about it, and ooh, she loves it, and doesn't it just terrify you and disgust you? As the pantheons of the multiverse are my witness, I am very, very happy. Because I am one perverted, degenerate son of a bitch, and my fantasies and my imaginations, though they may be dark, they are so very, very satisfying.
Oh, I have eaten people. I have drunk from their intestines, and I have seen the world anew.
All I can think about right now is Hannibal Lecter and Amy Pond. It is supremely arousing. A fucking degenerate pervert! No one should ever eat anybody alive! Oh God, there are days, there are moments when that is such a seductive thing. The future of humanity depends upon genocide. I kind of just believe at this point that everybody's a fucking douchebag. If being a were-shark sylph was possible, and bearing in mind, for me, I love sharks, so being able to turn into basically a great white shark, that would be pretty fucking rad in and of itself. I'm not chasing some glorious, submissive blonde who can somehow turn into a shark on demand and turn into a dragon so she can fucking fly me over to Gallifrey 1. Or whatever. No, 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 thank you, no. That's a level of disgustingness that I'm not willing to go to. Flapping up into the air, it will lift up into the air, this great tentacled monstrosity with huge tarantula legs. And as it hovers over you and its asshole opens up, it reveals a second set of razor-sharp teeth. And it can then descend down upon you, eating you alive through its asshole. Gay sex solves everything! I remember bashing my worst enemy's head against the concrete of the playground screaming, "Why won't you die?"
Such hatred, such vitriol, such anger at the world around him. It's only a matter of time before he strikes. Where does the whole cannibalism thing come from? What is the genesis of this cannibal fetish? Fetishes often come out of trauma, and Jahans always describes seeing the film Jaws as a young boy, and that he didn't find it scary, but scarring, like it traumatized and imprinted upon him psychologically, to the point where he self-identifies with the shark. Who on earth identifies as the shark in Jaws? Just think about how much of a red flag that is. I am constantly woken in the night by my own fears that Jahans is a couple of steps away from sharpening his teeth, painting himself grey, wearing a fin-shaped hat, and acting out on his cannibalistic desires on the streets of his own town. I can vividly imagine him running around the local park when the moon is out, in his full shark costume, waiting for a passing female that he may attempt to consume.
I've got this feeling that won't subside.
I'm not ashamed of it.
I look at you and I fantasize. You're mine tonight. Now I've got you in my sights with those hungry eyes. One look at you and I can't disguise. I got.
And then this guy lives in, this other part of the country, and he's got social issues, so he needs to make sure that there's a carer with him. It's not like he could just get the bus, and, things are difficult. Things are difficult, but they can be done. It's just going to take time.
This man he's found appears to be something else. He appears to be something quite different. He needs a carer with him, and he cannot get onto the bus independently.
I've got a friend, who his autism is really quite bad. This is someone who genuinely asked me today what flirting means. And he's the same age as me, right?
Okay, so we found out a few things. This man is 24 at the time he meets Jahans, and he's got autism.
I am now possibly going to be sort of quasi moving in with this sort of boyfriend that I have now, and he is severely autistic. I mean, I was trying to sort of explain to this guy who is sort of my quasi pseudo Schrodinger's boyfriend, why it is that I wouldn't feel comfortable just messaging the kind of women that I'm interested in, saying, hello, I would like to get into a relationship where I treat you in this manner as if you are submissive. Would you be okay with this? Because that's the sort of message that he has been sending around to loads of people on, OkCupid and stuff. Is basically a great big long list of, hello, I'm interested in vac beds, and I'm interested in being in rubber, and do you have a problem with this? And it's like, he thinks that there would be nothing wrong with me sending some similar kind of message to all the pretty blonde women that I might feel these feelings for, saying, how would you feel if I were to, if we were to get into a relationship and I were to tie you up, and, he can't see the cultural context as to why, after centuries and, generations and thousands of years of oppression of men against women, that it's kind of a bad thing to be, to be a man and to say, hello, I would like to dominate a woman, specifically you, would you let me?
So Jahans is moving in with his autistic boyfriend. This is an incredible insight into the minds of these two people, both Jahans and boyfriend. The boyfriend, who has these disgraceful fetishes, which he puts in an extensive list on Plenty of Fish for all and sundry to see, and then Jahans stumbling upon that list, sort of coming across that list, and reading it and thinking, yeah, that's something that I absolutely want to get involved in. And the way the boyfriend almost encourages Jahans to act on his cannibalistic, predatory desires, speaks volumes to how normalized this degenerate behavior is with these people. Anyway, you may have heard Jahans say that the boyfriend has a vac bed fetish. And Jahans' role in the relationship is that he will have to operate a vac bed. Now, you may be thinking, what's a vac bed? What's that all about? I know I certainly had that train of thought when I first came across that term. Well, first of all, let me just say that it's utterly disgraceful. But I'm told that certain autistic people that are into lines of sexual deviancy find that a vac bed is comforting to them, as it embraces them tighter than a hug from any human ever could. You can probably see from the video footage just how odd this all is.
As I was trying to explain to my boyfriend, that for him, he wants a boyfriend for very particular reasons, right? he has very particular fetishistic needs that he wants fulfilled that I match up with, right? He wants someone who can do these things with him, you know, in a vac bed, which, you know, a vac bed is kind of, you know, that's getting into sort of, you know, deep territory in terms of fetishism. I now have my submissive, right? He will almost be at the point of tears, asking me, can you please do this? And then after he's sort of described what he wants me to do, he's like, okay, and then what can I do for you? And I'm like, wait, hang on, weren't you just describing what you were going to do for me? Like, you know, like, the things that he describes that he really wants done to him are the things that I really want to do to someone. You know, we have talks about things that we would like to do, and, you know, sort of describing, I will describe concepts and ideas from stories that I've written, and, you know, and yeah, there'll be points where he'll go, that's not my kind of jam, which of course is, you know, fine, that's how this works, safe and consensual. But, you know, quite a lot of things, a lot more than I would necessarily expect. He's like, oh, I'd love to do that.
Degenerate, disgraceful behaviour. What the hell happened to good old-fashioned sodomy? When the hell did cannibalism and abject domination become almost normal bedroom behaviour? I'm sickened, I really am. I'm disgusted. It's interesting that Jahan sees his boyfriend already as his submissive. That's the sexual dynamic that Jahan perceives. Yet the reality is that the boyfriend is the top. He's the one calling the shots, and Jahan is just there to operate a vac bed and perform some other disgusting acts. Let's just pay attention, by the way, to where Jahan is recording this video, where he's shouting out his sexual desires and actions for all of the household to hear. He's sat in his living room. That's where he is.
So the reason that I find submissive women such a turn on as a man is that it's a stigma in our society, right? That's why I find it a turn on, is that I want to be a feminist, I want to be a leftist, I want to be in that kind of crowd, and in that kind of crowd, a submissive woman, being into submissive women is a taboo and a stigma, right? Even if it is, you know, safe, sane and consensual, the fact that I am, you know, a 6-foot guy makes it a problem. And again, right, if we're talking about, you know, stigma and how that plays into why something is erotic, right? The fact that I am a fat guy with glasses, who wears suits, and who, you know, has a Doctor Who bag, you know, right? That makes it more of a... Hello, I'm making a video.
Oh. Well, if I just curl up here quietly, is that alright?
I can't edit on this thing. Anyway, because of the things that I have just discussed, you know, essentially, that only plays more into why I consider, you know, submissive women such a term. If I was, you know, a Christian Grey sort of, you know...
So Helen's just walked in. Jahans' mother. She's obviously heard her son shouting all of this stuff and has decided to enter the room in order to both troll him and get him to stop. She's curled her... She's curled up on the sofa, quietly, yet her eyes are on Jahans. And this doesn't deter Jahans. In fact, he will carry on wailing about how he wants to fuck submissive women.
The world could be coming to an end. You know, I could have cancer and Alzheimer's, and if I was with him right now at this moment, I I'd be okay. I would be okay. Because he's lovely, and he's cute and adorable, and he doesn't believe it, because, like I was last year, he's got, depression and self-loathing, and I'm helping him as best I can with the depression, and I haven't a clue how to deal with self-loathing, because I've still got self-loathing issues, but, like, I love him so much.
Ah, Jahans is all loved up. You could put what he just said on a card, you really could. He's just an old romantic at heart, isn't he?
Basically, things with my boyfriend did not work out.
Oh no! Oh no! It's happened! Jahans has split from his true love. But, pray tell, what has happened? What tragedy befell these two star-crossed lovers?
So, the only reason that he was talking to me was because he wanted me to help him, essentially, with these fetishes that make him feel better most of the time. And the thing is, basically, when I was with him, I would do basically everything that he wanted. Like, I mean, and part of the reason that I did that is because, on the few occasions that I'd be like, well, you know what, I'm not showing, I don't necessarily have as much interest in this as you do, he would have a massive sulk, and he would react like I had personally offended him, and like all he ever does fucks things up, and it's just like, dude, it's okay.
He's basically a canvas for this man to violate and impose his fetishes on. It's vile and stomach-churning. But notice how Jahans is almost cast as a woman. Cast as the woman in this relationship. He's rather surprisingly frigid. He doesn't roll with every suggestion that his boyfriend makes. Sometimes he just wants to cuddle and watch Coronation Street. Not exactly how you would expect a man who has been writing novel after novel after novel of cannibalistic wank fantasies to behave, is it?
What happened last night was that we had fun in the bedroom, and it was a good time, but basically it was me doing things to him, for him, and then afterwards I wanted to finish myself off, and to masturbate, to finish off the energy, and he was just like, no, I want to go on eBay, please leave. and then I went downstairs to get a glass, to kind of, knowing that he'd basically saying, okay, I'll leave you to do your eBay and your stuff now. And so I could calm down, and then I was just like, you know what, fuck it, I love the guy, I still care for the guy, and when I went back to the room, all my duvets, all my belongings, they had just been thrown outside the room into the hallway. And then when I entered the room, he was hiding under the duvet, and he was screaming and leaping away from me as if I was going to hit him. So for me, I just couldn't be in a relationship with someone who made me feel like a monster.
And now Jahans gives a little message to those that will follow in his wake. Try not to cry, lads. It cuts deep.
Quite frustrating. So, whoever comes after me, whoever is the boyfriend to come after me for this guy, I obviously, if I've done my job right, you won't be able to know who I'm talking about. But if you ever do, if you're ever with him and you're watching my videos because my boyfriend decided to do for me what he decided to do for you, what he did for me, which was basically to go on and on and on about the last boyfriend that he had. If that happens, and as a result, you are now watching through my videos, I have to say, first of all, sorry. sorry for the fact that it's going to be stressful. And I also have to say, work at it. If you can control your temper, if you can do everything that he asks, it is so worth it. Because whilst he is selfish, whilst he is incredibly oversensitive, he is also incredibly sweet, incredibly kind, and incredibly adorable. And being with him has taught me a lot about myself, and it's taught me a lot about how I shouldn't fear myself.
You have been the one. You have been the one for me. Well, goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. You have been the one. You have.
So, in risk of bringing the mood down, I just wanted to end this video on a lighter note. Here's Jahans pretending to be his cat.
Oh yeah, this is what you can't see. I am Runnikin. I am cute and fluffy and furry. Yes, aren't I just adorable? I am the cute little cat. This is what you can't see. Yes, he's just like a gigolo. He's just a cat gigolo, just saying, come on, I know what you want to see. You want to look at me and say that I am adorable. I am a cute cat. Come on. Come, pay me attention. Just stare at me. Come on, just stare at me. And it's just like, no, Runnikin, we know you can fucking get down by yourself. We don't care anymore. And I suppose to a certain extent, yeah, I don't care about America anymore. I mean, I do because you're human beings, but, you know, I can let America go, you know?